Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I don't do 1 rep maxes. Now, a lot of times people do 1 rep maxes because they're trying to get an idea of where they sit in their training, but I think you'd be better off doing a 5 rep max or an 8 rep max and measuring your progress that way. And here's the reason. I got into a little bit of a debate with a super nice guy on the live chat last night, and I was talking to him about 1 rep maxes. And the fact is that nobody can argue that a 1 rep max is more intense on the muscles and the connective tissue than a 5 rep max. Assuming the technique and everything is the same, the 1 rep max will be much more intense because a 1 rep max is the most possible amount of effort you can exert in order to lift a certain weight, right? That's why it's called a 1 rep max, not a 1 rep min, okay? It's called max. Most athletes injure themselves during maximal effort. Not sub-maximal effort, maximal effort. When you're doing the most amount of power, that's why sprinters tear hamstrings or groins or stuff when they're doing that 100-meter dash and they're going as hard as they can. And I agree with maximum effort, but maximum effort over 1 rep is way more than the body can sustain, especially if you're doing it regularly. Now, I've been guilty of doing 1 rep maxes myself over the years. And this is why I can share this advice with you, because 1 rep maxes a lot of times led more to injuries or tweaks than an additional gain in strength or results. This is really a good question to ask yourself. Why do you train? Do you train just to stroke your ego? Is that why you're training? Or are you training to get results? And I find most people will defend the 1 rep max thing because they're really training to stroke their ego. They're not training to get results. That's the whole point. Now, of course, some sports like powerlifting demand this. You know, powerlifting demands you to be ready and have that groove refined, so you do have to do a 1 rep max once in a while because that's the basis of the sport. But if you're a bodybuilder or a person that is seeking to have longevity, then I would say 1 rep maxes are a good thing for you to steer clear of. I would not recommend for you to do 1 rep maxes. I don't think they have any training benefit whatsoever. And if there is some benefit to be had, it's not worth the risk because the injury potential goes up tenfold. This is why I don't do 1 rep maxes. Asquatch. So do I have a problem with you doing 1 rep maxes? Not really. I mean, the thing is that you can do whatever you want in your training. I'm just trying to make you conscious of something that most people are not conscious of until they get into their later years of training. Not because they're older, but because they learn, right? So you see a lot of guys that have been in the gym for 15, 20, 25 years. You don't see them doing 1 rep maxes that often. Most of them don't. Most of them will stick to the 5 reps, 6 reps, or even 3 reps or whatever when they're gonna go heavy, but you very rarely see them just do a 1 rep max and just push. And the guys that I do know that continue to do this usually have a lot of different injuries and stuff like that associated with training. So I'm trying to help you just have a little bit more longevity in this game and get more results. Because the biggest results I got in my training was when I increased frequency. And this is in my competitive years. Like, people always ask me, Jason, do you train the same now as you did then? Yeah, I do train the same now as I did then. There might be a couple little tweaks to my training based on a few hockey injuries that I got, but overall I train exactly the same. I don't train any different than I used to. So the fact is that I got more results from mixing up the rep ranges and actually from getting away from doing too extreme of a weight. So the fact is that most guys that are beginners that watch this video will almost be pissed off. They'll almost be mad about it because the 1 rep max is basically how they can measure themselves and basically say, okay, look at me, look what I lifted, look how important I am, look what I did, you know? And that's really a beginner tendency. You know, beginners usually have a tendency to obsess about that 1 rep max sort of thing because they're not conscious of the fact that there's a high risk of injury with very little training benefit. There's a lot of ego benefit, but no training benefit. So that's my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com and take care for now. And thanks a lot to the Patreon supporters. I think I got a new one this month. Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm hearing noises again. Was that you guys? You sneaking up on me? What are you guys sneaking up on me? If you don't see me upload this video, then you know what happened. But then you wouldn't hear this message. Okay, if the policeman that picks up my camera sees this message, you know what happened.